And there's so many similar stories to this, but like, bro, I went from like being down and out on the Friday to then seeing Dave to then on the Monday I'm DJing for him. And at one point I remember me and Dave and Fredo sat like this, and I'm like,
because you can look back now, and maybe the constant drinking, the constant late nights, the constant bad food is what put you in that space.
1000%.
But do you think that what kept you in that space is that was also your way out short term?
So I'm in Dubai after 2 months of going out every night, spending all this shit, and I just ended up going broke, fam. And I was like $2,000 overdrawn. I had like £3 in my bank account, and I was like, bro, I'm in Dubai. Like, everyone thinks I'm living it up, bro.
Dave and Meek Mill rap Dreams and Nightmares word for word, and you were there, and I think your video is the one that like went everywhere. Well, can you just give me a little bit of like context, bro? Because
and like, long story short, like, it got to a point in August where like, had I not have such like a perspicacious mindset, I would have ended up being like proper depressed.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Gooms Podcast. 90% of you guys are actually not subscribed, so please make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn the bell notifications on so you can get notified every time we release a podcast. Enjoy the episode. We in, baby.
Episode 44?
Yes, episode 44. Better late than never, eh? Yeah. Better late than never.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Gooms Podcast.
Oh, man. He sounds like...
First of all, I just want to say I'm going to try and involve myself as much as possible, but I am feeling a little bit under the weather.
But what do we do when you feel under the weather, bro? You still turn up. And we're here.
The episode's still a little bit late. It might be a little bit later as well. I don't know when this episode's going to come out, but we might have a very, very important shoot today, so things might have to get a little bit pushed back.
Damn right.
Yeah, we've got a special guest on today, man. This episode's been cooking for a little minute. Like to introduce yourself, man?
What do I say? Dom Bryan, DJ, living life.
Yeah.
Humble.
To give you guys a bit of a backstory, I met Dom last year on a yacht, and we said hello and stuff like that, and then I heard one of your mixes was on, I'm pretty sure, on the boat.
I completely forgot about this.
And you're in the mix with Dom Bryan, or whatever, however it drops in, and I was in charge of music in the change rooms back at football days. Dom Bryan's Mixcloud mix was the one where that would be shuffled a bit. So when I figured out it was you, I was like, shit. And then we went Cove and we chopped it up a bit, and we've been in contact ever since. But yeah, it's been brewing, bro. You've been a busy dude.
I completely forgot about that.
Wait, what did you forget about?
The whole meeting.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the yacht, but then I forgot that it kind of went like that, and then we went Cove and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was like, shit, I'm in the mix with Dom Bryan right now, bro. What's going on?
And here we are, yeah, later.
But yeah, bro, I want to kickstart this with, who is Dom Bryan? Where did it start, bro? Because you're not just a DJ. There's more behind that people don't really see, and I kind of want to tap into that and let people know who you are, bro.
Well, I grew up in Birmingham, South Birmingham.
What area?
Kings Norton.
Oh, okay.
And it was a perfect combination of like being able to be out on the streets, being able to play, being able to get into fights, you know, having a good home to go to, and just having that like bit of rugged upbringing where it's not too polished, so there's lessons to learn. And yeah, I came from a family that had its, you know, faults, like every family does, but one family that worked through the faults as well. So it taught you that when things aren't going right, it's not always about just giving up. It's about how can we fix it, how can we move forward. So yeah, I grew up pretty normal. You know, was into sports, was quite athletic. I originally was a runner.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to love my athletics. 100 meters, 200 meters.
What, Dom Bryan with the burners?
Bro, burners. But yeah, so I was a sprinter. And then I remember getting to like 11, 12, and I was just so bored of it. Like, I couldn't understand why I was doing a 12-second race, but having to do like 400-meter training and cross-country training and all this stuff, I was like, it doesn't make sense to me. So I ended up getting bored of that. And my dad was always supportive in the sense that he kind of just let me do what I wanted to do. He was never like one of these dads that were like, oh, you've got to do football and blah, 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 blah. You have to do this, do that. Like, he kind of just let me take the reins and he supported anything that I kind of done. So from athletics, that's when I kind of went into football, started playing football a lot more. And then, played football.
What age is this, by the way?
Started playing football about 11, 12, and I was a goalkeeper.
Real?
I was a goalkeeper. Just because I had no technique. And that was what I could do, you know what I mean?
They just said, yeah, you can go in there, bro.
Goal, bro. And just had good reactions. Once again, got bored of that. And I was like, okay, cool. I want to be the one that scores the goals now. Yeah. So then I started playing striker. And same thing. I never had no technique, but because I was so powerful and so quick, obviously, I remember when I was playing at a team called Maypole United, all we ever used to do was just put the ball over the top and I was just sprinting onto it. Simple as that, going through.
So you became a goal machine then?
Became a goal machine. And then like with DJing, that come about because my next door neighbour was a DJ. So when I was literally so this is going back a little bit. When I was about 8 years old, new neighbour moved next door. He was a DJ. His kids were the same age as me. I used to go play out with them, and then when I'd go around their house, I'd see the decks, and I'd be like, bro, like, what is this? Like, this is sick.
Your pops is cool.
Bro, I was just like, what is going on? Like, and so I'd go around, I'd just be fascinated. So I'd sack off like playing out, and I just want to go around there, listen to the music and all that. And he was on radio as well, and so like I remember every Friday night I'd see him leaving the house in his big whips, going to radio and whatever, giving me a shout out on the radio, all this stuff, and I'd be like, yo, like that I don't know what it was. It was just like, yeah, I want to be a DJ, and this is like 8 years old. So I remember around that Christmas, my mum got me like a little piece of equipment, nothing mad. And that's where the DJ journey started in that sense. So yeah, I remember like I used to have friends that would come round who were like MCing at the time, and I'd be like mixing it up on the decks. They'd be on the mic spitting all that stuff, and it kind of just grew from there. And then I went to obviously high school, started playing PlayStation, all this stuff, and that hobby just got dashed, forgot about it. Decks went in the loft. And then from there, started playing football more heavily, started wanting to take it seriously. Didn't really know what I wanted to do in life, so I was just like, yeah, football. You know, like I said, didn't really ever have much technique, but I just was passionate about it and powerful. And so that was kind of climbing. And then I remember I got to around year 11, we started having house parties. Like, it was like a rule in our year that if you had a free house party, and if you didn't, and we found out you had a free house and didn't put it, like, yo, you're blacklisted from the group. So
the decks come out the loft.
Nah, but so they were long gone at this point. I don't know what happened to them. But I was always on the aux lead because I had like good music taste, whatever. And I remember one party, I remember vividly sitting in the kitchen with my boy, and I was like, bro, like, I need to get some decks again so I can mix these tunes, because we're on YouTube and that, in 3 songs in, you get an ad.
Yeah.
Party stuff in front, you know what I mean? So, I was like, I need to do it. And then my birthday was coming up. I remember asking my mom, yeah, cool, can I get some like new decks? Like a little controller. And because I already had some kind of idea from the years of doing it before, instantly I kind of knew how to mix all that. It was just a case of getting the songs that were needed. And so I started obviously DJing at the house parties, and they were going off. Like, they were literally going off. Like, people who weren't from our school started coming to the house parties.
I actually think I remember you putting out a video of you in a house party, and you've got those little lights that come out the side of the decks. They're flashing and shit. And you were there, and you had a little mic or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, bro, but it was in your the transition video that you put out.
Yeah.
Like, I started here, and now you had like Meek Mill. Was it Dreams and Nightmares on in the background as well, or some shit?
Yeah. No. What was the song? Respect the Game.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
It's a big tune.
yeah, I remember we used to have I used to go into my loft and get the Christmas lights out, and I'd take them to the house parties, and we used to get sellotape and stick the fucking the Christmas lights up on the ceiling, and yeah, they used to go off, like literally genuinely, like the vibes were crazy. And then from that, I remember a girl who I used to DJ for at one of her house parties, she connected me with a promoter who was looking for a DJ for a club event. So I went and done that. And from...
What age is this, by the way,
I
bro?
was 16 at this point.
Okay, so you were DJing at a club?
So 15, 16, yeah.
Sick.
Crazy.
So 15, 16, 15 when I started the house parties, and then 16, she put me through to this promoter. But it was weird because the night was a 16 plus event, and you had to have wristbands if you was under 18, and like a certain colour and then a different colour if you was over 18, so you could get served at the bar. And I remember getting the bus to town with my I had like a big football bag, and I had to put like my computer monitor in there because I didn't have a laptop. It was like a Lenovo touchscreen monitor or some shit like that. Took my decks to the club, and then got on the bus, got there, and I'm thinking, it's just me and my one brethren. And then next thing you know, like all the people from the house party showed up and that, and I was like, yo, like this is sick. Felt like I had a pull.
Yeah.
And just kind of steamrolled from there. And I remember there was a guy who was running a night at Lavana in Arcadian called Curtis Crockett. He was one of my dad's good friends.
Had some messy ones in Lavana, ain't we, H? Hey. Do you know what I'm saying? Those horrible Ute nights, like.
But yeah, so my dad was good friends with one of the promoters, and I was like to my dad, I was like, Dad, can't you, like, put me through? And he was like, Dom, you've known him how many years? Go chat to him. So I remember I hit him up on Facebook, and I was like, yo, I've checked the laws. Like, if I'm 16, I can come in the club as long as I'm not by the bar and all this stuff. And he was like, listen, mate, you can come through at 8 p.m. Come and like just play for an hour, get familiar with the decks, whatever. Because I never actually played on any like proper club decks at that point. And so I remember I downloaded my CDs and all this stuff. And 8 till 9 was just when the cleaners were in there, like getting ready for the club. But like I was just getting the chance to play. And then I remember at like 1 a.m, they'd be like, oh yeah, you can jump on for 15 minutes. And like I'd get the chance to play to a crowd. And I was always killing it. Yeah. And bro, these times I'm 16. Do you know what I mean? Which is...
it's a big deal, bro.
Bro,
it's crazy.
Like it was just... I remember going into college and that. And like people like, what was Arcadian saying, all that.
Yeah.
Da, da, da. And it was funny because my head, like the head of college...
was on the dance floor.
She knew one of the DJs I was DJing with.
Yeah.
And I remember one day she was like, listen, if you weren't performing in college, like, I can chat to people and stop all this stuff. And I was like, whatever, man. But yeah, kind of
That's a big thing for a 16-year-old, though.
Bro.
That's sick, bro.
Looking back, it probably like was
you
a
were
big
just
thing.
felt normal, didn't it?
Yeah, to me it was just like just part of the journey. And like I said, it was never. I've always put this out there that DJing was never a thing where I was like, I want to be a DJ. I want to start making money from this. Mm-hmm. It was a hobby that I just enjoyed doing. That ended up being able to make money from, and kind of one thing led to the next from there. And
does it still feel like a hobby to you now?
Doesn't feel like a job. I wouldn't say it feels like a hobby because there's a level of professionalism that comes with it that you wouldn't install into a hobby, but it definitely doesn't feel like a job. There's times, like I'd done a yacht party the other day, and like no disrespect, but it felt like a job because it was like 6 hours, 7 hours. Wasn't really enjoying it. It was just like super chill vibes. And I was just like, you could have had Spotify. Like you don't need me here. Because you're on a yacht, where are you going? Do you know what I mean? You're in the middle of the ocean. Can't go swimming with my laptop. So yeah, but nah, it feels like a hobby in a sense, but definitely not a job.
So how do you go from that 16-year-old kid that's getting 15-hour slots in Lavana to spending your summers in Europe and your winters in Dubai now? What was that in-between phase? And how have we got the Dom Bryan we've got now?
So if we're going to go from when I was 16, I was doing that every week in Lavana, probably for about 6 weeks maybe. And then me being a dickhead, can I swear?
Of course you can. Yeah.
I didn't know if I
Of
could.
course you can, bro.
Yeah, me being a dickhead, I was going to the club on nights I weren't DJing. I was
Oh.
bringing my boys with me. And, like, they were like, bro, like, obviously this is years ago, but they were like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, you come in here, like, before the club opens to get some practice, and you're doing a little 15 minutes. And then I remember, like, my dad used to drop me, and then someone who lived local to us always used to drop me home. But I was going there on nights out and whatever. And then they were just like, nah, like, you're taking the piss with it. So I ended up, like, sacking me off. And I remember I was heartbroken. I was like, nah, man, like what am I going to do now? And I remember thinking, I'm going to have to start producing or something until I'm 18 and I'm ready. And then I think it took, like, a few weeks, but then I kind of got back to it. And I remember I hit up, like, every single under-18 event on Facebook that I could find. Newcastle, Liverpool, Manchester, London. I was like, bro, I'm 16, but if there's work, I'll get the train to fucking Newcastle if I have to. Just hungry. And I'll make it work. And the only place that got back to me was the Birmingham under-18 events. And there was, like, there's a guy called Ray. And he was like, yeah, like, look, like, you seem like a cool guy. Can you come meet me? I'll drop you some tickets. If you can sell some tickets, you can come DJ and that. And I was like, yeah, calm. And so I remember I'd go and collect tickets from him. And he'd give me, like, 20. And, like, I'd move them in, like, a day, literally. I think they were, like, £20 tickets and you get, like, 10% commission. So you're making, like, £2. And I'd be like, bro, I need more tickets. So I'd have to go link him, get some more. And I'm like, how much you need? And I'm like, oh, just another 20. Then I'd move them, rapid. And then in the end, they'd be like, oh, yo, here's 50 tickets. And so I started moving these tickets. And then I'd go and DJ. And I was only DJing for probably like £50 for the hour or something. But I was probably making more on commission from the ticket sales.
Is that when you realised you had a pull and, like, people were fucking with what you were doing?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a pull. It was just like a willingness to make something happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I was selling to people I didn't even know.
Oh, okay.
Like,
in my head, I'm thinking that's your community that's just grabbing them from you.
Yeah, nah, it wasn't even the community. It was like me probably just on Facebook messaging people, like advertising it, promoting it. And then, like, friends would recommend it to their friends, and I'd be going to town, link people on the bus. I was going home with, like, 400 quid in my pockets, and I was just like, I was thinking I was up. It was re-up money, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't anything special. But, and it was sick that this guy was trusting me to, you know, move these tickets and keep the money, because it showed, like, so I could have just dipped off, you know what I mean? What would that have done? And then he was messing with me a lot. And then another guy that he was working with, a guy called Naz, he then he was, like, kind of DJing at a few bars, but he wanted to kind of step away from it, so he was, like, becoming like an agent in a way, and was, like, sending DJs to different spots. And through the under 18 events, I met him, and then he started putting me through to, like, oh, okay, I need you to go DJ here, I need you to go DJ here. And I was playing at places like Bohemian in Moseley, Sidewalk on Her Street, which is a gay bar. And these were the best places for me to play at, because it was all about vibes. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, if you weren't playing good music, they didn't care. And I don't know if you've ever been Her Street, like, they just love a good time. So if you weren't performing, like, it would be known, do you know what I mean? Because people wouldn't be enjoying you, what you're running.
Is that, like, kind of just get thrown in the deep end straight away then? Just swim?
Yeah, definitely. And, like, it was a lot of, like, trial and error. And this is when, like, I was still on CDs, so I was having to, like, go on my laptop, YouTube converter, download 20 songs onto a CD, write the title on it, like modern R&B or something. I remember I used to put, and I'd literally have like 100 like CDs stacked, and go there, and it's like, okay, cool, you got 20 tracks on this to find something, and then you got to go back and forth, and it was I feel like it was a much better time to come up, because it was so heavily focused on the music, not so much like going to the club and having an image and all this stuff and blah 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 blah. So yeah, like, I feel like the journey's too long to condense it into a short story, but from then I just started getting more and more bookings.
When did you have that, like, one big break?
Took the words out of my mouth, brother.
The
moment when you sat back and thought, shit, this is for real now. I'm not being thrown around here, there and everywhere. Like, I'm doing this. and I'm doing it properly.
I think when things started getting serious, I went to Iron Upper. So
Hometown boy.
Yeah,
Black and white.
Black and white. It wasn't black and white originally, but
Sin.
nah, like it was a dingy bar.
No, we was in black and white from like the ages of 15.
Probably bumped into, bro.
You think I'm joking?
Yeah, bro.
Dead ass, bro.
Like 14 was my first time in black and white, bro.
Because the owner of the club
Wait, what-
always took care of like our older cousins.
Wait,
and stuff
what
like
year?
that.
What year were you DJing in black
So
and white?
2017 was when I first went to.
Oh, that's what we used to go black and white.
Don would have been behind the decks, bro. We would have been the little youths with the balloons on the dance floor, bro. Fuck you though.
So yeah, I went to Iron Upper. The way that come about is a guy called Kieran J was DJing out there, and he was transitioning over to Marbella for like his seasons. He was originally in Iron Upper, and he was giving up his residency at a bar. And I remember he put it on his Facebook status, and I was like, bro, like, of course, like. So I hit him up, and he was like, yeah, like I put in a good word. He put in a good word to the guy, and I messaged the guy, and like no reply. Like 3 months later, no reply. I was like, oh shit, completely forgot about it. And then one day out of the blue, messaged me. He was like, hey, like, you know, we're still looking for a resident. Can you use the mic? All this, bro. I couldn't use the mic, but I was like, yeah, of course.
What do you mean the mic? Like, yo,
So
I never get turned. Like a hype man.
MC,
Is that like nerve wracking for you, or are you good at that?
Oh, originally it was. Now it's not, but originally it was. Because I never done it, but I was just saying yes because I weren't looking to lose the opportunity.
That's very similar to us. I always say to people, like, if we can't do it, we'll either teach ourselves how to do it, or we'll find a way to get it done.
100%.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was just like, cool, make it happen. And then didn't get back to me again for another 2 months. And I was like, oh, it's dead in the water. And these times, like, my boys were going to Napa, like, Rusky and Shaq were going out there to DJ. And I was like, man, like, I'm missing out. I was only 18 at this point. But then it was like the 1st of May or something, or like the 2nd of May. Guy messages me. He was like, hey, job's yours if you want it. How soon can you get here? And I was like, how soon do you need me? And he was like, oh, well, the bar opens on Monday. These times it's like Tuesday or something. And I'm gassed. I'm like, bro, like I'm really going. Like I'm down 100%. And then...
How old are you at this point?
18. And I remember I got home, I looked at my passport was out of date.
Oh, no.
And I was like, fuck. I've told this guy, like, yeah, I can come, whatever. And then, so I had to get, like, emergency passport, all this stuff. And then I remember I was DJing on the Thursday night in Arcadia. And I remember I had to go to Peterborough for, like, a 9 a.m. appointment to get the passport. So I remember I finished DJing and just literally drove down there, got my passport, and then literally 2 days later, the 7th, I flew out there. I only remember the dates now because my passport expiry date is 0505. Yeah. Obviously, that was the time I got it. So now, like, the 5th of May just sticks in my head. And so, yeah, 7th, I ended up going out there. And when I met the guy, I went walking around, you know, seen the bar. It was literally, like, tucked away, like, round the corner. Like, no one would have went there, do you know what I mean? But it was, to me, I was just like, who cares, bro? I'm going to DJ in Cyprus. Like, and so I remember.
And at 18 as well, I'm guessing flights were covered, accommodation was covered, and then pay as well, or none of that?
Nah, it was just shit.
Oh, for real?
But this is back when flights were cheap, though. I remember my flight was like £60 to
Cyprus in May.
I was
never
like,
ever gonna.
It's not happening now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was Thomas Cook, and yeah, I think they were going to be paying, I think €50 a night, and I'd have to DJ from 8 till 2.
Damn.
And then accommodation, I think it was like €300 a month, which is change, but it was like workers' accommodation. Mm-hmm. So it was dog shit, bro.
Yeah.
And so Rusky, who obviously was doing seasons out in Napa before, we kind of met probably a couple of years before that, but like we started talking a lot more around that year, and he was like, bro, you need to go talk to a guy called Finos, owner of Black and White. He was like, he's the guy you need to be chatting to. So I'm like, yeah, cool, there's nothing wrong with networking. So I remember I went to Black and White and I sat there, had a conversation with him, and he was like, I'll come, like, I'll show you around the strip, show you like what clubs we're involved with and all that stuff. And we're walking around and showing me all the clubs. And then, like, as I've got back to black and white, the guy I'm meant to be working for was, like, cross paths with us. And he was like, what are you doing, Dom? I was like, I just need to go get my charger or whatever. I just change shit. And then the next morning, I woke up to a text saying, bad news, mate. Basically, I've been sacked because I was walking around with, like, their ops, basically.
One of the big boys.
Yeah. Like, 'cause obviously there's different sides in Iron Upper. You got, like, one side that owns, like, Sin and Castle and all that. And then, obviously, the other side, you got Black and White, Candid, etc., Ice. And, yeah, there was like, are you going to work for them? And these times I wasn't. Like, we were just having a conversation. And then because they was like that with me, like, off the back of something so simple, it kind of made me a bit apprehensive. And at this point, I've already put out on social media, like, oh, yeah, I'm fucking gone for the summer, all this stuff. So I'm like, why? I'm going to be home after a week. Like, it's going to be embarrassing. But then I went back to Black and White the next night, and I was like, I explained the situation. I was like, can I come and work for you? And he was like, you seem like a nice boy. You're polite, whatever. You're respectful. I'm going to help you. And then I had to go DJ in one of the bars for free, just as like a trial. And then, yeah, from there, just gave me kind of a bit more. And he would only ever let me DJ like the warm-up in Black and White for ages, for like 2-3 months. And then I remember, like, peak season, I got to do a main set, and he was like, are you sure? Like, are you ready? And I was like, are you ready? Like, I was already confident in my own ability, do you know what I mean? And absolutely, like, shut down the club. Like, I remember there was coming to me, there was like, yo, that was a record-breaking night. Like, the amount of balloons on the floor, it was mad.
The place is great, because you could pick them up for, like, I can imagine.
Back in the day, it was like
€3.
€3.
Yeah, bro, like.
Why? We should have known that. Yeah.
Just off the back of the doubles are this, the five for a double, 3 for a single.
But yeah, it was mad. So off the back of that, obviously started messing with me a lot more, started doing more and more stuff out there. And then I remember going back home, like, there was just a bit of a buzz because I'd been away. I put on an event at Bamboo on a Thursday and it was heaving. Like, it was like the return party type of thing. And it was packed. And, like, from then I was kind of like, okay, now it's time to take things seriously. I was, started putting up my price a bit, started saying no to certain things a bit more, got really strict with my branding. Because there were certain brands that I wanted to mess with. Have you heard of a brand called Nuage?
Yeah.
So, like, I kind of indirectly knew a few of those guys. And I was like, that's the type of events I want to be DJing on. But the type of DJs they were messing with, they weren't, do you know what I mean? They were 30, they were established. Nuage's branding was strict. Their policies to get to the events were strict. And I was like, I can't be slacking branding-wise or be taking on these dead bookings.
They'll never take you seriously.
Still won't take me seriously. Yeah. So then I got really serious with my bookings. I wouldn't play at other brunches because I was like, I don't want them to think that I just, I play at everyone else's things.
Just thirsty for it.
Got really strict. Yeah. And, like, I'll definitely put those guys some credit for me getting so good with my branding, because it was like early on it taught me that, like, yo, if you're clean with it, do you know what I mean? Like, your brand's going to speak for itself in a sense. And then, then things just kind of went up year by year after that, I guess. That's the break. I'd say.
So Napa happened. I can imagine you've gone back to Napa. You still go back to Napa, right?
Yeah, so I've done 3 more seasons after that, 17, 18, 19, and then COVID hit. I would have been going back in 2020, but then obviously COVID hit.
Wait, so what happened as a DJ during that period? Because I didn't even... the club scene just finished. It just vanished, didn't it?
Yeah, like, literally as simple as that. Like,
and you're... are you a freelance? Or have you set up like a...
No, so I was working up till I was 18. I was just going from job to job, and me, like, I get dissatisfied very easily. And so I never really held down any jobs. I was just going from job to job, apprenticeship to apprenticeship. And then I remember one day I was DJing in Lavana on a Tuesday till like 4 a.m. and then I had work at 6 in a factory. And
love a good factory job,
bro. And I remember my routine was I'd finish the set, I'd go home, have a shower, go to spa, get a coffee, then I'd drive to work, sit in the car park, 45 minutes, heat on full blast, and I'd just quick sleep, and then you're on the line doing that, pass it on, And I remember one day I just felt like a zombie, and I said, nah, fuck this shit. And I remember I went, like, I think I called in sick. I didn't go back for about 5-6 days. Eventually written my notice. And I spoke about this on my Insta the other day. I remember when I was handing my notice, there was like, yeah, okay, cool, you got to do 2 more weeks. So then I went back down to the line, and my line manager was like, it's pointless me keeping you on because I'm going to be teaching you stuff you don't need. And he was like, are you sure you want to, like, you know, you want to leave to go and DJ? Because, like, you know, I know some DJs and they DJ abroad and up and down the country, and they, you know, they don't make much money from it. There's not much longevity in it, all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure, like, I'm good. And I don't think he ever meant any malice behind what he was saying. He
probably just knew some shit DJs.
No. I think he was probably just projecting his limited beliefs onto me. Yeah. Type of thing. And I can't really blame him for that. But if anything, that kind of just steered me more. So then obviously from that point I was just DJing only. And then COVID hit. And in terms of like lifestyle, not much really changed for me because I wasn't going to work like Monday to Friday as it was. So I was just at home, chilling a lot. The only thing that changed, I just wasn't in the clubs on a Friday and Saturday. So I actually kind of really enjoyed lockdown to start. But yeah, eventually it was when it was like they were teasing you with it, like, the club's going to reopen. And then they wouldn't, or they'd open for a bit and you got to be sat down only. And then we go for another lockdown, and it was just like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
What was the financial, like, what was your financial situation in that time?
It was dire. It was dire, but I lived at home with my mum and dad. So
you were okay?
Yeah, I was sweet. You know, I was fortunate in that sense. Didn't really have much responsibilities. I stopped driving right before that as well, because I was going abroad and whatever. Obviously, my car was just sat at home for 4 or 5 months, so I ended up stopped driving, just started taxiing everywhere.
So you didn't really have any overheads?
Didn't really have much overheads, and there was nowhere to go, so I wasn't spending any money. Most money I was spending was on takeaway. Do you know what I mean?
Can I ask you something, bro? Do you enjoy clubbing? Honestly.
Me personally, I don't. Like, I won't go to a club, like,
if you're not getting
paid.
Pretty much, or if I'm supporting someone's event. But I don't really enjoy it as such. I enjoy DJing and giving people a good night. Like, that's what I believe I'm there for, is to, like, you know, give people good energy. Before every set, I'll always say a quick prayer before I go out, like, yo, let me give someone tonight a good night who might need it, or inspire someone to chase their dreams or whatever. Like,
that's actually really nice, bro. I said
all the time, but like, I set it, go into it with intention. And half the time, if I don't, you know, pray, say my affirmations beforehand, I notice the difference in my sets, in my vibe, how it goes, etc., etc. So
that's one thing that I've realized a lot about you more recently, is like you are very in touch with your spiritual side, and
100%.
And like even just the content that you put out on your social media, if it's not to do with work, sometimes, like, I'd like to think myself as pretty hard-headed and motivated, but sometimes you get me up.
Yeah.
Like, and you write something that really, really resonates with me, and I'm like, shit, like, my boy. Like, you know what I'm saying? My doggy.
I love to hear that.
But yeah, man. Okay, so I want to go to Dom now, because you spent last winter on a residency here in Dubai, which, first of all, congratulations, that's amazing.
Thank you, bro.
Then you went back for a couple of months, did Marbella for like the duration of summer, and then you're here now again for the whole winter, I think.
Yeah.
What's that like, bro? What would 8-year-old Dom that thought his neighbour's dad was cool be thinking right now? Like, what's that like for you, bro?
I don't think I'd be able to fathom it, because back then for me it was just like, could I be on a Birmingham radio station? Could I be in Birmingham nightclubs, like, or whatever? There was never really a goal or an aim. So I don't think it was something I ever really imagined or set out to do. I just vividly remember at the start of 2021, was it 21? 22? Start of 2022.
It would have been last year.
Yeah,
right?
last year, start of 2022. really just started a lot of self-development work. And I remember I was like 2 weeks into January, and I was like, bro, like, what are you doing? Because I weren't DJing, because obviously January, no one really DJs much. I was like, what are you doing with yourself? Like, you claim you want to be this guy and you want to do this and you want to go these places, but what are you doing? And I sat there myself and I was like, bro, it's time to get some action. So I started reading. Someone gifted me a book, Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. And I remember reading that, and it was such like a great entry point into the whole spiritual side of things, and just like, I'm going to say almost like just being a stoic in a sense, like not letting like things get to you too much. And started reading. I think I started working out a bit more, kind of got my diet in check. Started making vision boards for the first time in my life. And
what was on those vision boards?
Funnily enough, Dubai was on there.
Why wouldn't it be?
I never knew like why or how or when. It was just on there.
Yeah.
And it was like little things like, because I used to do a bit of boxing when I was younger, and it was just like get back into boxing. Another one was like set up this business, and it was just loads of little like small things, but like things that I've been putting off. But then I had like a bigger one, which was like the dream type of thing. Someone would be like, I can't remember vividly off the top of my head, but like I know one was like own a football team.
Who do you support?
Chelsea. We ain't gonna talk about that. Ain't gonna talk about that.
Is that who you want to own as well?
Nah, man. Not at that level. But yeah, so it was just loads of different things like that. And yeah, like now when I look back, like that switch in my mindset of like, okay, now it's go time, was fundamental to get me to where I am now. Because like the point that you're at in life currently is like a response to what you've been doing. And like, if I'm ever unsatisfied with where I am in life, I kind of look back and I think, okay, but have I been doing the work? Have I been doing this? Et cetera, et cetera. And I remember in that moment, I started doing something called a productivity calendar, which my friend taught me about. So I'd have a calendar, and so I got a whiteboard, and I was like, okay, every day I'm just going to put my tasks down, what I need to get done. Simple things, never overcomplicated, just might be like laundry, something, go to the gym, cold shower, all this shit.
How much more does it? How much does it help when
Bro,
you tick it?
Fundamentally, like, I'll go into that after, but so on the calendar, so I'd have January 1 to 31. And obviously this is 2 weeks into Jan when I had this switch, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to be honest with myself. Past 2 weeks, if I've had unproductive day, I'll put a red dot. If I've had a productive day, I'll put a green dot. And so the first 2 weeks were just red. And the good thing about it is you can monitor your patterns then. Do you slack on the weekend? Are your Mondays a bit iffy because of, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I'd have my board and I put it in line with that. So if I ticked off everything, or I know I tried my best to tick off everything,
green.
It's a green. If I've slacked about, I'll put a red. And from then, I only really had like 2 reds after that, like in that month. And it helped me like be on my shit, because I almost got addicted to the dots. I was like, I need the green. Like, it becomes like habitual to want to get it every day. And so from that, I kind of just started taking small action every day, whether it was like putting on events, doing brunches, like just doing it. I remember because I was doing events like for a year prior to that, and you know the events were doing really well. I was selling a lot of tickets for them. But once I started that, I remember the first time doing an event after having the board, having the productivity calendar, I remember 2 days out, I was like, I've got nothing left to do. Like, I've already organised everything. Everything's already in check, because I was keeping myself accountable every single day of, okay, I got to get something done. Do you know what I mean? Rather than putting it off. Like, I was already in check. And I remember 2 days out, I was like, fucking hell. Like, this feels good, like, to be organised, to be done. And so...
So that started 2022 January, halfway
January 2022,
through.
Yeah.
And then when did the film...
We're in 2023 now, innit? So...
Yeah, it was last year, bro. Last year was your first
January
first winter in
2022.
Dubai,
Yeah. So then from then,
Did you do a residency during the summer last year? Because I wasn't really on your radar before then, so I don't know.
So basically, I've done like 5 weekends in Marbella, and it's crazy how that come about. And I'm a firm believer that like when you look for opportunity will like find its way to you. Do you know what I mean? But if you're not focusing on opportunity, it's not going to come to you. And so there was a club that wanted to book me for a while. And at this point, I was probably saying no to more than I was saying yes to, just because I was very brand conscious. I was doing my own events. I was making good money from my own events. Didn't really need to just DJ everywhere for the sake of it. And so this one club trying to book me constantly trying to book me, and I was like, not interested. And then one time, my boy Shaq called me and he was like, yo, like, they want to book us both for a back-to-back set, like, they're paying P's. And I was like, you know, fuck it, like, I'd say yes, and why not? And from that was like 2 months prior to the set, whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, let's do it. But then one day, Shaq called me back up and he was like, Ruski's asked if I can cover him in Marbs, because that season Man City won the Premier League and this when Grealish went there, and obviously Russ and Jack are boys, and so they were going to Vegas, so Russ wasn't there to do his Friday event in Marbella. So he was like, like, Shaq, can you cover? And then Shaq was like, I would, but I'm already tied in with Dom to do this thing back in Brum. And then they were like, yo, just bring Dom in it, like of course Dom can come. And so we was meant to only do the Friday, but then Amish, the guy who organises a lot of things out there, he does History. He was like, could you stay till Sunday? And, you know, I'll put you on History at Now Pool Club, which is like the biggest pool club out there. And I was like, you're asking me, like, bro, of course I will, do you know what I mean?
So that relationship started from that whole, from City winning the league, effectively, the knock-on effect. Yeah. And you went and did the year
Butterfly
after
effect.
Everything.
Yeah,
it was all History, innit? At now, yeah. Mad.
Literally from that. And so I stayed, and because I stayed, obviously, I remember it was Father's Day, and obviously Shaq's got 2 beautiful boys, so he had to go home for Father's Day. But I could stay, no responsibilities, do you know what I mean? So I stayed till the Monday. And because I stayed, I got to do an extra couple of sets, and they were like, yo, this kid's sick. Like, no, I say kid, it's only last year. But it was like, yo, like, it's cold, like, he can play internationally, because playing in the UK compared to playing international is completely different. It's like, imagine a football changing room. You got 18 players, and you've got 11 different nationalities. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got
to try and cater for everyone in the crowd.
If you're in the change room and you're on the Orcs lead, if I'm playing, 7 people might be happy, but then the rest of the team are going to be like, what the fuck is this shit? Do you know what I mean? So it's about getting that medium. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And so learning to play internationally and just having the crates to be able to do so. So yeah, done that, and then like a couple of weeks later, I was like, yo, like, can you come back? And I was like, yeah. And so I went and done it like 4 or 5 times, and it's crazy because like prior to this, it was April and I had no bookings abroad, and I was like, bro, how? Like, I'm bigger than I've ever been. I've actually got a decent pool. Like, I'm selling out my events. I've got a good presence online that's growing, all this stuff, but I've got no bookings abroad. Whereas before I was getting them. Mm-hmm. Looking back now, obviously no, because, you know, COVID took a lot of hit, budgets weren't the same, all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. People had their people that they wanted to mess with. And then...
But it all happened for a reason.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you were fully booked, you might not have ever got to be in that room with Amish.
Yeah, 100%.
And do that set. And
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
So I was just like... I remember being like, bro, why am I not getting no sets abroad? All this stuff. And I remember Cyprus at that point was still kind of had its own lockdown measures and the COVID vaccine and all this stuff.
Cyprus was strict.
Yeah, it was strict. So it was affecting a lot of people that they couldn't go. Flights were silly expensive. So that was off the cards. And then I just kept putting out there, like, yo, I want to to DJ abroad, I want to DJ abroad. I kept saying it, I kept putting it out there, kept writing it down, putting it on my vision board, all this stuff. And then obviously the snowball effect. And this is what like I try to teach people, is that manifestation isn't something that you put it out there that you want to achieve this and then it ends up at a package in front of your door. It doesn't work like that. When you're trying to manifest something in your life, first of all, you have to match the feeling of it. So like if you're trying to manifest money but you're worrying about money, you're not going to get money. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not in line with the abundance mindset, the abundance feeling. And so I always tell people, put out there what you want and really imagine the feeling of having it, but don't become too desperate to receive it to the point where you're building a resistance for it, because if you're building a resistance that you want it that bad, it's almost pushing it away in a sense. So I was just putting out there, you know, really want to DJ abroad, really want to DJ abroad. I was giving thanks every day as though I was already doing it. Thank you for these bookings abroad. This that I had none, but I was still saying thank you for it as though it was already a reality type of thing.
Just waiting for reality to catch
100%,
up.
100%. And then, so yeah, back to the whole manifestation thing. Like a lot of people think that they just say it and like perfect example. The other day, my laptop broke. So a whole week prior to my laptop breaking, I kept saying I want to get the new laptop with the M2 chip. I kept saying it. I was talking to my friend about it. I want to get a new laptop. And
we've been there, man.
I was just like, bro, like the new one's kind of packing in a bit, like the battery's a bit mad, it's glitching. I was like, I need a new one. And then literally like 2 days later, someone spilled a drink on my laptop in the club. Laptop broke. The day after, I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to have to buy a new laptop. Then because I had bookings coming up, I couldn't wait to get it sent off, repaired, or I just had to get a new one. So I bought a new one. And I was like, shit, like, I asked for this. Like, instantly, when it happened, of course I was annoyed. I was pissed off. Mm-hmm. But then my immediate thought was like, I can't change it. I can't go back and
I think
move
that's a
the
perspective
laptop.
thing though, bro.
100%, now it is.
Because there's a lot of people that would have thought, fuck's sake,
Yeah,
I have to go in. But
1000%.
if you actually run it back, it's like, you were saying, I want to get it, and the world gave you a reason to go get what you want, what you asked for.
And this is how manifestation works. You put out there what you want, and it doesn't just deliver it to you. It presents an opportunity for you to turn that into your reality. Yeah. So I'm like, you put the thought out there, and the thing is there. It exists already, but it's your action that takes it from thought into physical reality. And so, like I said, I remember that immediately happening afterwards. Like, first reaction, oh, fuck's sake, blah, 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 why? But then afterwards, I was like, I asked for this. Like, it's cool. Do you know what I mean? There's worse fucking things going on in the world right now than a broken laptop. And then I start looking at, okay, cool, I've got a new powerful laptop. I can use certain programs more to benefit certain businesses. I can do this, I can do that. My DJing levels can go up because I can get newer software, all this stuff. And now I'm so glad I've got this new laptop because my DJing quality's gone up because I can do more. And had I have had that mindset of lack and have been pissed off and blah, 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 I might have been like, oh, no, I can just get a cheaper laptop or blah, blah, just moaning about it. I was like, bro, it's what it is. Do you know what I mean? Can't go back, can't change the fact it's happened now.
Bro, do you know what you should do for your sets? I said this to a DJ that we've had on before. I said, yeah, I don't think he's done it. What you should do, you should get a 360 cam and put it on a mount, like just behind your decks, and have you and the crowd in it.
Yeah. I've seen a few people using 360s. Definitely the wave. And I was thinking about this like literally a couple of days ago because I went to Qatar, and one of the best sets I've had probably in a long time. Like
had nothing to have captured.
Yeah, bro. If you had the 360 camera on for the whole set, there, bro, and the best parts,
or you could just maybe hit up a videography agency.
We definitely have to make that work for you.
Listen, bro. Before we go, we'll chop something up. You've done us a bit of a favor today, so we can return a favor. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Just in the same space.
Yeah, but yeah, bro. I want to ask you a question because we touched on it briefly before we switched the cameras on, and I want to dive more into it. What's the difference between Dubai and Marbella? Because I feel like, for me, I've only experienced Dubai, and probably not to the same extent that you have, but I put them as Marbella is just the European summer version, and then Dubai is the winter, Middle Eastern version.
There's some truth in that, in the sense of like, say like your spenders who come here in the winter will go to Marbella in the summer, it's kind of shifting a bit. Like some people are going to like Mykonos, and you know, the house scene's really evolving into the money side of things now, where like people are going on luxury holidays to Ibiza. Yeah. Whereas before it was just like dirty raving type of thing. So there's definitely more places to go, but yeah, it is. They are quite synonymous in the sense that, like, you know, big table spends, big clients, big footballers, celebrities, all this stuff. The main difference is the infrastructure of the place itself. Like, you guys know, like Dubai, it's so accessible to whatever you need. Like, I always use this example. Like, at 2 a.m. before, like, I've gone to get in the shower after the club, and I'm like, fuck, I've got no shower gel. Go on my phone,
Kareem, and it's just
order it, and it's there in like 8 minutes. Back in Marbella, I remember my charger broke, and it was like 2 a.m. And I was like, oh, shit, my phone was on like 2%. No shops were open, bro. Like, so I had to wait till the next morning. My phone's dead, and because I was always awake till fucking 5 a.m., I just sat there without my phone, bored. And it's different in that sense. It's a lot slower paced, Marbella, in terms of like, there's not as much to do as there is out here. Like, there's so many things to do out here, so many venues, so many events every single day of the week, Monday to Sunday.
What about the people?
The people.
Oh, you. Yeah, you. I know you're looking at yourself right now and you're thinking, why am I not subscribed to the Gooms Podcast? Just f***ing do it then, because it helps the boys out more than you actually know. Peace.
For me personally, it was very much like the only people I were around were through the environments I was putting myself in. So I was only really around party people. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't really connecting with many go-getters. Like, don't get me wrong, like the club owners and the guys who are running their events, they're doing their thing. Like, they're like G's that I look up to. But they're not really in my spaces to kind of sit down and be around them like that. Obviously, Amish, who runs History, it was a blessing to have him around and his wife to kind of learn from. Because obviously, because we was working so close together for History, you know, I was seeing how they move. And, you know, it was great to have those real people around me. But I kind of went from leaving Dubai the first time round and this super high mentality, beast mode, training 7 days a week, eating good, whatever, and then going to Marbella. And because there was only like, and I probably am completely wrong, but I was only exposed to the party shit. So I was either partying or playing paddle or going to the beach maybe. Like, there wasn't much else that I found to do. And so I just found myself like kind of deteriorating bit by bit by bit by bit. And like, long story short, like, it got to a point in August where, like, had I not have such like a perspicacious mindset, I would have ended up being like proper depressed, like 1000%, because I was eating shit. I was drinking pretty much every other day. I was sleeping shit. Wasn't really training. I didn't like the gym. That was like local to me. And so, like, I just weren't ticking the basics just to get by every day. And it got to a point.
That chart, if you'd have been doing it, would have been out the window.
Yeah, 1,000 out the window, bro. Had a whiteboard, I was never using it. Wasn't really reading, wasn't listening to podcasts, like, which is a big thing.
Out of touch with yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, I found myself getting into arguments with a lot of people. You know, like, I was kind of going distant from friends. So I didn't want to talk to anyone. Because when I'm not where I want to be in life, I just shut out the world. And I remember, like, my mum and dad were saying, like, how come you haven't spoke to us in, like, 2-3 weeks? You don't return our calls. And it's like, from the outside in, if you didn't know me, you'd be like, oh, like, you know, I'm a bit worried about him. And I know, like, I'm always good. Like, I'm always good. Because I have the mindset to be like, it's not always going to be like this. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I remember I just kind of hit a point where I kept getting ill. And I never get ill. I have a great immune system. And I kept getting ill. And
what's your body saying, bro? Give us a break, man.
100%, like, and it got to a point when I was just like, I just felt like a zombie. Like I didn't want to be there. And this is probably why I have such a different mindset to what someone else might have. Because for me, I saw, after going from the highest version that I've ever seen of myself to kind of declining, I was like, fuck this place. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I hate it. Like, I don't want to be here. I was DJing, I didn't like it. I was getting into arguments. I remember one night I went to the club and I had a Chelsea shirt on. A retro one.
Some shit.
I had like a retro one. And the club were like, yeah, you're not coming in with a football shirt on. Obviously, that's their policy. Do you know what I mean? I was a bit annoyed because I was like, okay, cool, just let me off this one time. Let me go and DJ, do my set, and then say, Dom, we don't rock with it next time. But there was like, yo, you got to go home and get changed. But instantly, because I was in that negative mindset, I was like, nah, fuck these guys, bro. Like how are they telling me I'm fucking DJing these times, bro? It's their club. They can fucking do what they want to do. But my mentality... So I always say you either have a victim mentality or you have a victor mentality. And I was being a victim. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was thinking everything else was the problem when in reality, I was the problem. And I adopted that victim mentality and I was getting into arguments and I was doing this and I was doing that and blah, 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 blah.
And the owner was probably a gooner as well, so probably was doing the same thing.
But yeah, so like just loads of little incidents. Sorry, go on.
Did you go back and get changed? Oh no.
I went home and I never come back.
I swear.
Yeah, I was just like, fuck these guys. I don't care.
And how did that pan out?
Luckily, it was a good team of DJs, so there was someone to cover me. They probably don't even know it happened.
Oh, did you just make the call and was like, go there, or?
No. So at the place there's obviously another DJ who I DJ with there, and we normally just go back to back or whatever. He just had to do the whole night by himself. Normally I'd be there to do it with him. But in that moment, like I said, I had the victim mentality that like, oh, everyone's against me, like fuck these guys, whatever. And I remember being like, yeah, I'm gonna go home, fuck this shit, I'm done. And then I think I carried on just being like that, and I just was like, bro, I don't want to live like this. Like, everything just felt like conflict. Every day I woke up just felt like another one to get through. And I never felt sad. I was just like...
Angry?
Yeah, pretty much like just every day, and it was probably reflecting. My fuse was short. And then if I was getting drunk, it's heightening that shit. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like...
Did you find yourself drinking... Because you can look back now,
yeah,
and maybe the constant drinking, the constant late nights, the constant bad food is what put you in that space.
1000%.
But do you think that what kept you in that space is that was also your way out, short term?
I wouldn't say it was a way out, because that would suggest I was escaping from something, and I had nothing that I wanted to escape from, because I was perfectly happy being in the headspace I was in.
Yeah.
At that time, because like I said, victim mentality, thinking everyone else is the problem, not me. And so when I was going to my sets, like for example, I'd be DJing till 5 a.m, 6 a.m. on a Saturday night, and then I had to be up at 1 p.m. for History. And like History was like the sickest event, like hands down. Like there's a lot of cool events in Marbella, but History at now on a Sunday is one of the best things, like hands down. And I genuinely enjoyed going, but because I was so tired or pissed off, I was like, fuck it, I just need to drink to get on a good vibe. And so it wasn't necessarily an escape, it was more like trying to elevate, to get in the mood to DJ and all this stuff, and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, it becomes a constant cycle then, that this is the thing that's fucking you up, but then you're relying on this thing to get you, do you know what I mean? So it's back and forth, ping-ponging. It's like pick your poison. And then one time I remember, I think I went home for a few days. I think I went home and just being in the comfort of my own home, getting to go back to the gym that I loved, seeing a couple of friends and what's not, and just having that reset of being around real people, loved ones and all that. It just kind of was like, nah, fuck that. Like, okay, now we got to fix back up, because I was like, I want to go back to Dubai, but at this point I had no plans. Like I didn't have the same residency I had, nothing like that.
And the way you were going, you weren't going to get them.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, come on, man, like it's go time. And I ended up going back and just kind of getting it back to basics, getting up, having a cold shower, getting some sunlight, eating good, getting some sleep, cutting out on the drink. And it made a profound difference. Do you know what I mean? And off the back of that, I'm going to say I've ended up where I am now because of that change, whereas had I just stayed in that same shit, it would have just invited more and more problems. And I think just having that mindset switch of like, okay, cool. And it's never no drastic things like I'm going to make this big boss move and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's just like, yo, get the basics right. Whenever people come to me and they're like, oh, Dom, how can I like get shit going in my life? And I'm like, bro, just get the basics right. Go to the gym, get your diet right, drink water, cut out sugars, all this stuff. People like, oh, like, yeah, I'll drink tap water. I'm like, sack off the tap water. Like, just simple things that you can do, that you can take ownership of. Get reading, listen to podcasts, whatever. Just start there and then we'll talk again. Do you know what I mean? And then just through people starting that, they start to see a difference.
I think it's because you tell yourself, like, I'm going to start to do that. And once you start to do it, you feel like, oh, shit, like I said I was going to do that and I'm doing it. So what's the difference of me saying I'm going to have a yacht one day?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And that's why, going back to what you said earlier about, like, the feeling of just ticking something off on the board. Like, sometimes when I'm having a shit day, I'll literally just be like, okay, cool, I'm going to put 10 simple things on the whiteboard, tidy my room.
Brush your teeth. Yeah.
Simple things, the smallest things.
I've been there. I did it.
And you get through that list, and after you're like, oh, I feel all right. Like, what was I complaining about again? Like, and it's like I'm ready to go. And sometimes it's just those little small steps that lead up to the bigger picture. Yeah. And just getting back on my shit ultimately kind of stemmed for this. Do you know what I mean? To be fucking knocking this, to be back here. So yeah, here we are.
We've spoken a lot about how you started, the process to get into where you are now, and what you're kind of doing now. What do you see for Dom in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? What's the vision? What's the plan? What's the goals? What's the dream?
So I don't know if it's a dream or if it's purpose, but like one thing I'm like undoubtedly know is that I was put on this earth to help others, to help other people, to inspire people, to just be a light for people who might not necessarily have much in their life. And I believe that DJing was something that I've gone through and I'm going through that just connects me with many people. Like, we only met because I think was it Smeds who booked you to do the yacht, to film the yacht.
Yeah.
For the concierge thing. I only knew Smeds through DJing. Do you know what I mean? So like indirectly we've only met because of
and respectfully,
DJing.
bro, I made the effort to come and say hello because I knew of you from your DJing as well.
So it's like it's all about connecting, and I think for me it's gonna connect for my next phase, which ultimately everything I do is gonna be about helping people. Like I always say, like when it's my time to go, can the world be a better place by 0.0001%? Even if it's that small amount, the world's a better place because I existed. Do you know what I mean?
Bro, honestly, when you say it, I feel it and it feels genuine because there's a lot of people that say, I want to do this because I want to give back and I want to, and it's fucking bollocks because they don't mean it.
That's true.
But I really, really feel that energy from you and just your aura and just so the people at home can be like, he's not sat here talking crap, bro. Like, he really means that shit, and it's quite beautiful, bro.
I think this is why it's like key for me to start kind of doing things like this, because a lot of people only see the persona that I want them to see, which is the DJing, which is this, and you're seeing a false reality. Like respectfully, I don't give a shit about DJing. I genuinely don't. Like, I love what I do, and I love that I'm, making other people happy and all that stuff. But for me, it's not about the DJing. It's about just the essence of life and getting to just wake up every day. Like, I think one mindset shift that I had when I was here last year was to do everything to the best of my ability. Whether it was making my bed, whether it was making scrambled eggs, like whatever it was, I was trying to do it better than the last day. And I think that's kind of the mindset that I've adopted. So when you ask about what's your next 5 to 10 years, like, it's almost just like, what can I do better today? What can I do? Like, how can I make tomorrow better than today? Do you know what I mean? I think what's that song Jay-Z says? And I think it's Forever Young, where he says, may the may the best of our todays be the worst of our tomorrows. And it's like, okay, cool. Can we set the bar today?
It's powerful as fuck. That is.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think a misconception is that, and one of the best things I learned is that your best is going to look different every day. Sometimes you might get fucking 20 things done on that whiteboard, and you might smash all these business deals, and you might smash that set, and you might make this amount of money because you was motivated that day. But you see the days when you're not motivated and you can't be asked, those count more than those. Sometimes just getting up and making your bed and fucking just getting simple things done is more effective than being motivated, because motivation isn't going to last forever. Like, I don't believe in motivation. I don't like to apply too much belief into it because you're relying on it then.
It comes and goes.
Comes and goes, bro. Like,
That discipline, that consistency is something that has to stay every day.
exactly.
Hey, listen, bro. Look, you'll never, ever, ever see H on the podcast ever how he is today. My boy turned up today, bro, and he's here. Do
I'm
you know what I'm
never
saying?
ill as well. It's bare heartbreaking, man.
But he's here because it's that he's not motivated today.
Yeah.
But today he's greater than he was last week when he was motivated and we smashed some shit. So
100%.
my brother, man.
100%. Sometimes as well, like, we're forced to slow down just to get ready for what's coming, type of thing. Like yesterday, for example.
That means something great's going to come my way.
100%.
Damn.
Fucking
Oh,
hope so,
well, bro, he's felt like shit for the last 2 days, and I mean, we're not going to say it on here because I don't want to jinx nothing or whatever. But you heard what might be coming up today, bro, and like
Exactly.
one of the biggest names in the world, bro. So
Sometimes life forces you to calm down. And yesterday, I landed back from Qatar, and so when I was on the plane, I changed my time on my phone so it could. So I could see what time I'm landing, because there's an hour time difference. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me just change up my phone now so I know how long we got left. All that stuff. We've landed, and so I've come back the next day, and my phone's still in the old time. And so obviously I play football out here, and I've got nothing to do. Like, I come back and I just had a nap, got ready. And I was just chilling about, like, watching TV, thinking, yeah, I got football in an hour, all this shit. And, bro, I've ordered the cab, and it's saying, so football was to start at 7:30. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to get there about 7:15, so I'll leave at 7. So 7 o'clock's come, I'm ordering it, and it's saying, oh, you're going to get there at 8:20. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, is traffic that mad?
yeah.
And I'm like, like, this don't make no sense. And then it dawned on me, I hadn't changed my fucking clock. And so the whole time, bro, like, them men are in the second half and I'm still at home, bro. Like, I was like, no way. But then, because of obviously all the traveling over the past few days, and I've been really, really busy, and I've been drinking a bit, like, I have been feeling a bit run down. And at first, like I said, the initial reaction was like, fuck, I wanted to play football. But then afterwards, I was like, what can I do? Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't change it now. Maybe it's just saying, like, Dom, rest up. You got a podcast tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get up early, all this stuff. Da-da-da-da-da. Maybe I'd gone out, had a good performance. You know, the serotonin's running. I end up going out, fucking enjoying myself late night, whatever. So, running myself down further. So, it just felt good to actually have, like, an early night in and all that stuff. And so, yeah, sometimes, like, we'll feel as though something might not have gone our way, but, like, rejection is just redirection.
Thanks.
If you look at it that way, because, you know, there's the
I
saying.
said that on the pod before.
Have you?
Yeah, I think so.
Literally in the last month.
Great minds think.
Dead ass.
But there's the saying that for every adverse situation, for every difficult moment, there's an equal or greater benefit waiting for you with the right response. So if something happens now and something fucks up, like, for example, the laptop situation, if I was to look at the negatives of it and I was to only focus on the negatives, I'm only going to really get met with more negatives about it. Whereas because I met the situation with gratitude and I was focusing on the positive, the best case scenarios have started to come out for me. And it's the same with anything in life. Like I've said before, and it's very circumstantial when I say this, but the worst times in our life aren't the times themselves. It's how we respond to them. And sometimes, like, something might happen, and it wasn't the actual thing that happened that was the worst part of our life. It was how we responded after that. Let's take breakup, for example. Let's say I'm in a relationship and I get cheated on and, you know, we break up. And I've got two options then. I either grow from it. Like, it either becomes, what's that saying? It either becomes your wisdom or it becomes your wound.
Oh my God. Was it an Indian guy on a podcast that said it? And you'll be the quickest guy to become the wisest if it keeps coming.
Guru something.
One of them, man, there.
Yeah. But, yeah. And so, yeah, let's say, for example, I've gone through a bad breakup and I can then either choose to let it defeat me. And no wrong, you can have your little week being upset, but then it's time to get gangster after that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
damn right.
You've got to get back on the horse. And it doesn't necessarily mean you then go out and start looking for other people to then fix your problems. Are you jumping from relationship to relationship to relationship, jumping into bed with every other single girl? It's like, no, it's quite the opposite, bro. It's time for you. Focus on you. Cut the women out. Do you know what I mean? Reserve your sacred energy. Jump back in to being focused on you and what you're doing.
When you're the best you, or you're en route to the best you, then the best things to complement that will naturally just
100%. And so how you respond to that will determine whether it's actually the worst time in your life or the best time. Like, there's things that have happened to me that if they happen to other people, they would have failed. They would have been like, nah, fuck this shit. But I kind of used it as my strength to be like, okay,
bro, I feel that, bro.
If that didn't happen, I'm not where I am today. Yeah. And so that's why, you know, the saying goes, the worst time in our life aren't the times themselves, it's how we respond to them. So if I was to, you know, start eating junk food, feeling sorry for myself, being a little hoe, going out to the clubs, getting drunk, all that stuff, it's going to start going down like how this summer went for me, because my lifestyle was a shit lifestyle. Obviously not because of the back of a breakup, but because my lifestyle was a bit shitty. You know, everything else ended up being a bit shitty, whereas on the flip side, if I was like, nah, fuck this, how's she going to do this to me? Let me get in the gym, let me do this, focus on me, build myself up. It's going to make you a better person. Ultimately, you're going to look back and be like, boy, if that didn't happen, I'm not the person I am today. Yeah. And so that's why I feel like in life, when we go through some shit situations, and it's inevitable, we all are going to go through shit. It's about not necessarily letting it defeat you, like, and letting it be. It's so cliche, but it's so fucking true at the same time. Like, when we go through shit, how can we grow through it? Do you know what I mean? What you go through, you grow through, if you choose to. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you let it defeat you, I always use an analogy of like the wind. We go outside.
Of the
today,
what? Sorry,
the wind.
Right.
If we go outside today, and we won't, like, if we feel the wind, we're like, oh, it's a bit windy today. You know, I can feel the wind. We don't start saying, oh, I feel windy. Do you know what I mean? Or do you know what I mean? Like, we acknowledge its existence, but it stays on the external. We don't let it seep through into our internal. And it's the same with emotions. Like, let's say you're pissed off about something or you're irritated about something. If you really, like, invest into that emotion, you're going to become irritated. If there's an irritation going on, it's cool to acknowledge it and see that it's there. Like, you can feel it. Man, like, I feel the irritation today. Like, I acknowledge that it's there, but don't let it become you, because ultimately then you're becoming a personification of that feeling. So if something is pissing you off, it's okay that it's pissing you off, but whether you allow it to continue to affect your day and seep into your internal, and like I said, personify the feeling of anger, you're then going to have a vibration of anger, therefore attracting more angry, volatile situations. Whereas if you use it as guidance system, like, oh, no, like, I don't like how this is making me feel. I acknowledge that it's there. I'm not going to let it become me, but I'm going to, you know, use it as guidance. That's when you can kind of stay away from things and, you know, move in the right direction. Whereas when you let it become you, you act on impulse, you act on rage, all this stuff. Blah, 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 blah.
I think that's a really beautiful way to put it.
And it's also the positive side of things. Acknowledge, like, when something great is happening, but don't fucking let it get to your head, because at the same time, it's going to cloud your judgment. That's why a lot of people get up and they think, oh, I'm the fucking man I am. Like, I'm doing this. And it's like, bro, the biggest feeling you should feel when things are happening is gratitude. Yeah. Feel grateful, because even if you haven't got a lot, with gratitude, a little becomes a lot.
Feels like a lot.
Exactly. And when you're trying to manifest things into your life, whether you're spiritual or not, just having gratitude is magnetic for attracting more and more things into your life. Because I see people receive things in their life and they show a lack of grace for it. And as quick as it comes is as quick as it can go. if all of a sudden you want to start bringing in money, but as soon as that paycheck comes in, you go out and start spending it and do this and spunking it, whatever, like, you're effectively saying, I don't really want this. Like, if I'm like to you boys, oh, yeah, come on, let's do a pod, and then you come, and I'll give you a load of shit and just walk out, you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, why has he been asking us for a pod this whole time? And we've come, we've invested time, and then he's gave us shit and just left. Like, you're like, fuck that shit. I'm not doing that again. Do you know what I mean? Because I've said all the right things, but when it's come time to the action and the feeling, it's the opposite. So you're essentially showing the opposite. Yeah. But I don't even think there's enough time for us to go into all of this. We'll have to have a part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of like having the platform that we have, because we give people like you the opportunity to really show themselves and to give the people
to some degree
at home,
to some degree,
but to give the people at home an insight, and also like, bro, I feel like you've dropped some gems right now. Like, there's a lot of things that I've taken a lot of value from, and I know a lot of people at home would have as well. And then the next one's going to be the same, and you'll be a better version of you, and we'll be 100%. A better version of us, and we can do that and grow with the audience as well. So. But we'll run it back 1,000,000%. Go on, you were going to say something.
I was just going to say, I don't want to say I'm surprised, but I'm impressed with like the intelligence that you brought today. Genuinely, bro.
Bro, I judged the book by the cover, bro.
I wouldn't say that I judged the book by. I wouldn't say I judged the book by its cover.
I think it is like you said, like we kind of everyone's judging. It's how you feel about the judgment, you know what I mean? Like, it's okay to like think something might go there, because it's natural. And like, we've never met before. This is the first time we've met, you know what I mean? So you're naturally gonna be thinking, oh, like, what's this guy like? You know, might just be this Dubai lifestyle DJ. But as you guys like, can clearly tell from the conversations we've had even off camera, I don't care, bro.
You don't want to be a DJ.
I don't care about the lifestyle. I don't care about this. Like, I genuinely
what do you care about?
Helping people, bro. And I'm in the process of helping myself first and building myself to the best version of me. So then
you can help
them. Can help other people.
You can't love other people until you love yourself.
So no one knows this, but I write a lot. So you guys found out today. But I write a lot. And one of the first things I wrote about was not pouring from an empty cup. Like, you can try and water everyone else. You can pour into other people's cups. But if you're not replenishing your own cup, eventually you're going to pour yourself dry. And how are you of use to anyone then? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're someone who naturally wants to always help someone else, and you put other people first, and in your job you're always focusing on other people, by the end of the week you're burnt out. So that's what I always say to people, like, yo, just get a bit of self-care, get a bit of routine, focus on yourself. Because if you're not able to put yourself first, like I said, that cup's going to run empty. So now I'm definitely in the phase where I'm like...
You can't give any value out if your cup's empty.
Exactly.
You can't help anyone
There's nothing there. So I think now I'm just kind of in my era of, you know, I'm living abroad on my own. Don't get me wrong, I've got friends out here, but there's a level of solitude that I really fucking like. Like, I feel like I'm away in a cave, like fucking in the mountains, training up, getting myself ready so I can go back to the village, and it's wartime, do you know what I mean? And it's
you know Batman, when he gets put in the...
Yeah.
Dark Knight, is it Dark Knight Rises?
Dark Knight Rises. What is it, like a gulag or something like that?
Yeah. And it's the ish.
Yeah.
And he's just there doing this after he's been battered, beaten, bruised,
Exactly.
and he's getting ready to go back.
What use is Batman when he's fucked? Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
such a good film, by the way.
It's got
amazing film.
Yeah, one of the best. So he's training
all
himself.
All of the Dark Knights. That whole thing was just...
Dark Knight trilogy is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Cold. I remember going to the cinema and watching Dark Knight 1. And I remember the first scene when they're doing the bank robbery. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, this is cold. And at the end, Joker takes off his mask, and it's like, yo. But yeah, it is like, you know, I feel like I'm in that Dark Knight Rises stage where I'm like...
I love that.
I've been doing, you know, DJing now and everything for like 8+ years or whatever. But I almost feel like I'm starting again now, because I'm like, yo, it's time to gear up. Do you know what I mean? Like, the world's in a messed up place right now, and if I can try and make other people's worlds better, I'm going to try one person at a time. But for now, I'm not, like, a lot of my friends will get will kind of get the downfall of me not being as accessible as I used to be. I don't speak to many people anymore because I'm just focusing on me. And once I get myself to a position that I'm happy to have myself in, everyone else is going to see the benefits of it. Do you know what I mean? So just going to keep working, bro. It's going to keep working.
One thing I want to just quickly touch on before we round off, because it was something when I saw it, I was like, wow, like as if this motherfucker's there, bro. But there was one time last year when I'm pretty sure Dave and Meek Mill rapped Dreams and Nightmares word for word when you were on the decks or...
Nah, so it was Meek's DJ, but I was DJing that night.
Yeah. And you were there, and I think your video is the one that like went everywhere. Can you just give me a little bit of like context, bro? Because I love that tune. I know you love that tune. I think everybody loves that tune.
Yeah, it's like an anthem.
If I can steal 5 more minutes, I'll explain a whole bigger story. That
Go on,
that
do it, bro. Let's hear it. Let's go.
So, similarly to that space I was in Marbella recently, where I just wasn't happy, wasn't doing the right things. I was in a similar space last year in Dubai. I come to Dubai for the first 2 months, thinking, yo, Dubai's certified, there's money everywhere, like it's popping. I had my residency, but I was a bit lapsy-days with my invoices, and the club I was working for, you know, I've just sent an invoice after 2 months, and for whatever reasons, they just took ages to pay. So I'm in Dubai after 2 months of going out every night, spending all this shit, and I just ended up going broke, fam. And I was like, luckily I had accommodation because they were paying for it, so I wasn't that fucked. But I was just like, bro, like I can't even go shop, bro. But like genuinely, it's as deep as I had. I remember I got a screenshot on my phone. I was like $2,000 overdrawn. I had like £3 in my bank account. And I was like, bro, I'm in Dubai. Like, everyone thinks I'm living it up, bro. I'm in a hotel room. And it was a hotel room with no balcony. Like, it was inside as well. So, like, I wasn't looking out to sunlight. I was looking into the lobby type of thing. So it was dark pretty much. I had to have my lights on all the time. And, yeah, I was broke as a joke, bro. And I was working a lot, so it wasn't like I didn't have money coming my way, so I didn't stress too much about it. But yeah, I was just in a bit of a shit situation, and I remember I went back into that negative space, that victim mentality. Everything is everyone else's fault. And really, it's only, you know, I believe in radical accountability. You have to, you know, if you want your best chance in life, treat everything like everything's your fault. Even when it might not be your fault, everything's my fault. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I can do something differently. And so, with that being said, I'm in a low space, negative space, but then there was a turn where I was like, it was the day of that Meek Mill event. So I was like, bro, like, come on, like, you're in this shit space, but, you know, you're about to go DJ in the same fucking venue as Meek Mill. Like, even because I remember, like, my name wasn't on the flyer and I think I was a bit pissed off about it, but I was just like, here's what it is, bro. Like, I had my own little flyer for because basically when you walk into Soho, there's like the pre-spot where everyone starts, and then you go through to the main club where he was performing. I was the DJ that basically welcomes everyone, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm not like on the fucking main card, but I'm on the undercard. You know what I mean? Like I've still got my part to play, and so I can market that correctly. I remember putting it out on my story, like setting things off for Meek Mill tonight. I remember my interaction was crazy, like as if you're DJing with Meek Mill. I was like, oh, like. And that kind of gave me a kick, like, bro, come on, man. Like, don't focus on, like, what's not happening, and let's try and make something work. And once again, like I said at the start, where you look for opportunity will be found. It will find its way to you. So then I remember, had I been in that same state, I would have just gone and done this set and gone home. Like, fuck this shit, I don't care about that.
So how did you go from that pre-room to behind the decks with Meek and...
So, obviously, finished my set, and then... obviously, I stopped the music and it transfers across into the main club. So normally I would have been like, fuck it, I'm going home because I'm pissed off. But I was just like, nah, bro, like, let me just, stay out, see what's what. And I finished at like 11. Bearing in mind, he's not coming on until 3 a.m.
Shit.
So I'm like, that's 4 hours. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to wait for him. And so I've gone through. And normally, like, when there's an artist on, they never let anyone in the DJ booth, like, other than the artist and their DJs and the person who's on. But so I was chilling in the DJ booth, and like the night's warming, and like obviously because it was F1 weekend, every celebrity's out there. And I remember I was wearing Mania Devoir. I had like an MDV t-shirt, MDV trousers, and I'm chilling there, and I got a tap on my shoulder, and it was Reese Wabara.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
And he was like, yes, G, informs me. And I was like I'm a big fan of him. Like, I've watched his content and all that stuff, and like I really like just how he is as a person, the way he carries himself.
Real talker, go-getter.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah. And I was like, I remember he tapped me, and I was like, oh, that's mad. Like, because I remember I weren't going to wear what I was wearing. I was going to wear something else, and I just thought, fuck, I'm going to put it on. And it allowed me to have that connection. And I seen him the other day, and I was talking to him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember you." And like I said to you before we started, that sometimes like just having that initial reaction can come down the line further. And I'm sure there'll be another time we'll cross paths, and he'll remember me again, and you know, something might open because of it. But so yeah, I seen him, and then like Mason Mount was in there. Obviously, I'm a Chelsea fan, so I was like, "Yo, this is sick." And I was just around these people, and I remember thinking at the time, like, bro, I can't be in this space when I'm around all this greatness. Like, I can't be in this negative space when there's this much opportunity around me. Mm-hmm. And so I was just chilling, and then Meek's come in, and then his DJ's come in, DJ Flow, and me and him are chopping it up and that, and he's like, "Oh, like, yo, like, how much of like the States music's going off right now?" And we're just talking. And, like, he's a real good guy. We're connecting. And someone else will come in, and like I was noticing, like, because like my vibe was like up there now, like I was just having better interactions. And then from that, obviously Meek's then started performing. And then Dreams and Nightmares has come on, and then I've looked to my left and Dave's fucking walked in the booth. And I love Dave. Dave's one of my favourite UK rappers.
And me.
He's walked in, and I'm like, what the fuck, that's Dave? And then me, I used to pray for times like this, to rhyme like this. And then Dave's turned around, Dave's spitting like this, oh shit. And then Meek's coming over, and he's like, "Shout out Dave in the building." Da, da, da. And I'm like, that's sick, bro. Like, Meek Mill knows who Dave is, like, this, that.
Dave's a big G, bro.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. It's huge. But that was kind of like my first moment of realising, oh shit, this UK music is really starting to pop off. Because like Meek Mill is one of the goats of the current generation. He's like looking around and getting gassed that Dave's there. Yeah. You know, Dave is just calm, cool, and composed. Yeah. So they're going rapping back and forth, and it was funny because obviously it went viral. Like, I'm Just Bait posted it, all this stuff, and everyone's in the comments like, "Oh, Dave don't know the lyrics," and it made me realise that you don't know reality, because I was next to him and I'm hearing him know every single word, but on social media people are like, "Oh, we don't know this shit," and so it was in that moment. Like, I remember I went home and I had that video, and I watched the video, and I was like, bro, like, this is
greatness.
That is greatness. Like, I've got it on my phone, and I posted the next morning. It went viral, and then it showed me, like, bro, like, just having that small shift in mentality of going from being a victim to, okay, cool, let's make shit happen. Look at the night I've just had off the back of it. Mm-hmm. So the next day after that, I went to the F1. First time. I come from a family, like one side of my family, really into cars and stuff. Like, my uncle unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. But
sorry to hear that, bro.
He was like into the F1. I've never really been into it like that. But I remember I pulled up in Abu Dhabi, and when I'm like coming over the bridge and I'm hearing the cars go past, bro, I nearly started crying my eyes out, bro. I was like, as if DJing has brought me to this point of my life that, you know, like, my uncle never had the chance to go to no fucking Abu Dhabi F1. Do you know what I mean? One of the greatest races of the calendar, like, and here I am. And I remember all the lads in that, they wanted to party and drink whatever. Bro, I was just sat on the edge of the racetrack, like, just praying, bro. Like, I get emotional thinking about it.
That's
now.
Amazing,
like,
man.
I was just like, bro, as if life's took me to this point. And so yeah, off the back of that, the next day we went back to the F1, and I remember laughing and joking at the start of the day with Amish, because I'm like, I can't, like, there's a whole other podcast to talk about how great of a guy he is and what he's done. But I remember that day, I was saying to Amish, because we were going to the F1 again, and Ashanti was performing, I was bantering, saying, yeah, I need to look good for my babes, all this stuff, laughing and joking.
I actually remember you put someone out with her as well, didn't you?
And I've had the sickest day. I had such a good day. And I remember, like, Amish messaged me, and he was like, bro, meet me at the watch stand in like 2 minutes. And I was like, what? So I've gone over, and he took me backstage, and like, that's where, like, I met Ashanti, and she was with her mom, choreographer, her dancers, and they're all like the sickest people ever. Like, no ounce of bouginess about it in the slightest, and they were so welcoming, and we were all laughing and joking. And I remember her mum was like, who's this cheeky British boy? Like, all that, because I was just there being myself. And so yeah, like, I met like my sister's childhood hero and all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, because obviously it's not necessarily my generation, but like, I was like, so like, you know, I've gone to the F1, you know, that made me really proud and grateful for my uncle and all that. And then I was like, I met Ashanti, and like sending that picture of me and Ashanti to my oldest sister. Do you know what I mean? He would have had every album, would have been singing every song. It was like, oh, this is a good feeling. And so I remember I was already on a high, and then I was like, you know, once again, small change of just that change of perspective, and we're back. And so then the next day, so this is like the peak of it in a way. I'm like, I'm thinking, oh, what a great weekend, whatever, da-da-da-da-da. And then Russ rang me, and he was like, yo, Dave and Fredo are having a party, and I've been asked to DJ. Like, I can only bring one person, do you want to come? So I'm like, don't want to come. Of course I do. Dave, favourite rapper, do you know what I mean? I love Fredo as well. And so we gone there, and we ended up DJing all night back to back for Dave and Fredo, and there was loads of different rappers coming through and whatever, and it was the sickest time. But it was one of those moments, like, you're in the moment, obviously no cameras are about, and there's so many similar stories to this, but like, bro, I went from like being down and out on the Friday to then seeing Dave to then on the Monday I'm DJing for him. And at one point I remember me and Dave and Fredo sat like this, and I'm like, yo, Fredo, that bar you said on this tune, da-da-da-da. I was like, the production, and then Fredo's like, bro, Dave's the GOAT, he's the best in the UK. And just having a musical conversation with Dave and Fredo, and I was like, bro.
Legendary, man.
Do you know what I mean? So it
was a full circle moment.
Full circle moment for sure. And it all comes from just that switching mindset and then that little video and just having that bit of buzz. So that's why I say everyone just sees the video of Meek and Dave going back to back. But for me, that's a whole moment of a whole weekend that I could arguably say kind of changed my life, in the sense that from that moment I was like, it's go time now. Can't be around these people, and I'm the only bum in the room, bro. So in essence, I was doing my thing, but I didn't feel good enough to be in them spaces. So I was like, fuck it, it's time to get to work. And one, you know, kept going, kept pushing, and here I am today. And it all comes down to moments. You know, how we react is the definition to how we move forward from it, or whether we sit with it and stay there. But yeah,
wow,
that's the question.
I think that's a beautiful, beautiful place to end. I first of all want to say thank you, because you've been absolutely brilliant. I already mentioned it, but I've taken a few gems. I know a lot of people at home would have taken a few gems.
Hopefully.
1,000,000%, bro. One of my favourite to date. I don't know if I can speak the same for H, because I know you're feeling a bit crappy, bro. But
I've enjoyed the listen.
My boy turned up, because that's what we do. But yeah, as per usual, people, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn that bell notification on so you get notified every time we release a podcast. And we'll see you all next week, man.
Love, guys. Catch us later.
Peace!